Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Comic Book Geezers. Welcome to another episode of Inside the Cover. And, of course, look who's sitting here right next to me, as always.
Hello, comic book fans. I am Wild Bill, the Unknown Comic. And you are watching another episode of Comic Book Geezers. And we're going to pick it up where we left off with Inside the Cover, Master of Kung Fu, issue number 31.
That's right. Part 3 of this 3-part little mini-series we've been doing for the last couple of weeks. This introduces the Marvel Comics world and the world of Shang-Chi to Razor Fist and the villainous Mr. Velcro and his, horde of heroin. And as we found out in the last episode, spoiler alert, in case you missed it, he's also harboring some nuclear weapons.
Down below.
Down below, that's right.
Basement number 2.
That's right. So here we've got Doug Mensch and Paul Galassi and Dan Atkins bringing you this issue with Karen Mantlo, the letterer, Janice Cohen, the colorist, and, of course, Len Wein at the front office, as they call him. So look at this. Look at that. Very cool.
Looks like a Bruce Lee movie poster.
Absolutely it does. Man, Paul Galassi was the man for this. And as I mentioned in the last couple episodes, they've moved away from the Fu Manchu storyline here to something a little bit different. So now the big reveal in the last issue was that this Velcro character was harboring all these nuclear weapons that they. So here we see them in this kind of big room, whatever you call it,
like the mad laboratory.
The mad laboratory.
There.
So they realize now it's a lot more than just heroin. We got to get rid of these nuclear weapons. So now we've got Reston, Blackjack Tar, and Shang-Chi. They've got to do what needs to be done to make sure that the nefarious... I love this. This is like a classic theme there. Over there, one of the infiltrators. I love that infiltrator name. The infiltrators. Get them.
It's almost like interlopers.
I know, right? So here you have the three of them now going up against all of Velcro's soldiers, and just some classic actions. I love when Shang-Chi is like flying through the air like that in the mid kick,
jumping.
How cool is that?
The flying kick.
The flying kick,
which is really a running, jumping sidekick.
There you go. So they're doing a pretty good job here, right? They're mowing through, and once again, Shang-Chi's always in the lead and always kind of takes off and does his own thing. But now they introduce this new character here called Pavane? Pavane? I don't know.
Pavani?
Pavani. I don't know how you pronounce her name, but there she is right there, and she's got a cat of her own. She obviously is kind of a badass, so all of a sudden she gets introduced into the equation here as well. So they're gonna be tangling with her in a minute.
I'm thinking of Kazar.
Yeah, kind of that too, right? That too. So the guys, they go and they steal this little kind of mini tank sort of thing, and they're going through, and of course Shang-Chi sneaks out the back of the tank and goes off on foot.
Does that all the time. He doesn't like motorized vehicles. He travels by foot.
He travels by foot. So they're like, all right, here we go. Right, China, where are you? And he's like, oh, he's off again, right?
Walking.
So he is sneaking around through the labyrinth here of this compound, and then of course he comes into contact with Pavane, however she says her name, and she sneaks up behind him and does her little whip thing and grabs his ankle, right? So he's kind of like, all right, what's going on here?
She trips him.
So you're led to believe that she's going to be like a real, thorn in his side, but then within 2 seconds, this is hilarious. She wraps him again with the whip, and then he just basically turns around, smacks her, and she's done. Yeah, she's like,
what about the cat?
Boom. And the cat is like a non-entity here. So then, of course, but here, Shang-Chi is actually, this is a really interesting look into his character. The reason why he left the tank to go back into the compound here is because he felt bad about leaving Razor Fist unconscious and stuck to the wall. So he figures, you know what, I'm an honorable guy, I'm going to go back and I'm going to, maybe set him free or whatever. So he doesn't die, right? So, but then he goes back and Razor Fist has already gotten himself out of his predicament, and he's ready to go back and kill Shang-Chi. So, but he actually shows up just at the same time where a bunch of Velcro's minions show up, and they go to shoot at Shang-Chi, and actually Razor Fist jumps in the middle, and he gets blown away by the guns. So basically,
Razor Fist gets killed by his own men.
He's killed by his colleagues there. So that's basically it for him. So Shang-Chi is like, shit, I went to go rescue him
and got him killed,
and I got him killed, kind of, But yeah. So here we've got We got Nayland Smith and everybody on the outside. He's called in the troops, so they're called in to kind of help rescue their colleagues, as well as, put the kibosh on everything that's going on at the compounds, because now they know there's nuclear weapons there. Oh, and remember G.I. Joe meets the Atomic Man? I actually had one of those figures back in the day.
Atomic Man?
Yeah. So here, we got...
Not the $6 million man.
No, not the $6 million man.
The Atomic Man.
So here we've got, them trying to escape from the compound, and you got all sorts of, like, submarines and boats and crazy things, and the artillery's coming out. There's the tank. So this is, like, total, like, action movie stuff. And here, this is kind of cool. So then Shang-Chi starts driving one of these ships, and this is just great Galassi artwork here. Look at that. Again, I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but it's like Paul Galassi was like the guy who continued on the Steranko legacy after Steranko kind of stopped working for Marvel, and I'm like so happy he did. So then
he's only limited to
Master
Kung Fu. He wasn't really utilized for other books as much,
no,
right?
Really, no. He popped up here and there, but not a lot. And he did that short Batman run for DC, but man, that's like I would have used this guy for everything.
When Marvel in 1980 started their magazine, Epic Magazine, he did some covers and did some artwork in Epic Magazine.
Like they never used him like they used like John Buscema or Sal or any of those guys.
John
Romita or Gil Kane. I mean, who popped up everywhere. He was just very limited. So anyway, long story short, they actually do blow up the island, the compound, whatever, and kind of like everything kind of ends on a good note. But a really cool 3-issue saga here. And then, of course, this is kind of the end of that. Then they take it into different places going forward. But, really good one. Oh, and by the way, Gil Kane and Atkins cover on there. You can tell if you look at this compared to, like, the other two. It's a bit of a difference. You can tell it's Gil Kane, but Atkins added some kind of interesting different type of elements.
A lot of good covers on Master of Kung Fu. A lot of yellow. Like Captain America, they use a lot of yellow, which looks really good.
Yep, I would agree.
But I think Paul Galassi was the best guy for this book.
So good. To the point where, like Bill mentioned, there are a lot of other guys worked on the art in this series, and all of it's really, really good. But for me, anyway, unfortunately, Galassi set such a high standard that, like, all the other artists that worked on this comic, like I read another issue recently where John Buscema did the artwork, and it's good. But man, it's like Galassi set the bar so high that anybody else that worked on it was never going to quite
live up to the standard.
He's never going to measure up.
He's
never.
very good at captivating the action scenes, as you've seen in these 3 episodes of Inside the Cover, Master of Kung Fu.
Yeah, and it's all done so artistically, and it's almost like a storyboard, right? So you can imagine like you're watching a movie, and this is like the storyboard to an action movie. And that's exactly how it comes across, and it's mind-blowingly good stuff. So.
Which I think helped with the success of the book.
Oh,
because it wasn't.
Yep.
It was definitely different than the superhero stuff.
Yeah.
And back in those days, a lot of people, were tunnel vision superhero stuff.
Yeah, and some of it
didn't have as big of an audience as the superhero stuff.
Yeah,
but those who liked it for all the elements that you just mentioned.
Yeah,
the artwork.
It reads like a novel, and it also is very action-packed, but very...
So it's not boring, the stories?
Not at all. You can kind of... one thing I can kind of compare it to, but in a weird way, it's like the Conan series, right? The Conan series was also very wordy, but in a different way.
But good, good drama.
Right.
It wasn't boring.
But to your point, like the people who really like the wordiness and the well-written stories and plots of Conan or Master of Kung Fu, who like the more mindless stuff of, not that it's mindless, but let's say like the Hulk issues or some Fantastic Four stuff. Maybe not as complex,
not as
wordy,
deep.
Not as wordy. Exactly.
These are deep, deep stories. Right. And if you have a short attention span, you're going to move on. You're not going to like Master of Kung Fu. But if you have, I guess the interest or the patience for that kind of stuff, that's what you're looking for. This is right up your alley, Master of Kung Fu.
Yeah, and I think like also if you're a fan of like the old Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, that also...
And I think the martial arts fans, I think this was also targeted at specifically martial art fans.
Yeah. As much as I like the Iron Fist character, I get way more pleasure reading the Master of Kung Fu books than I do the Iron Fist stuff. To me, that's a little pedestrian. That's a great character, but I find this way more
And the TV show Kung Fu with David Carradine was still on the air at this time, so they were riding that wave of popularity to get to target. This was definitely a target audience book, I think, for Marvel.
But it worked. It worked. So there you have
a bunch of them.
3-issue run, okay, 29 through 31, Razor Fist. So if you're looking to get any of these, This is, again, his first appearance. This one here is your kind of key here. These two you can get fairly cheap now, but yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. So there you have it,
Pete.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I've been waiting for that third issue to come along.
Now you got it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'd like you to click the like button if you like this video. And if it's your first time watching Comic Book Geezers, please subscribe. We appreciate your comments. Thanks for being here. And as always, click the notification bell so you can be kept in the loop every time we have a new video, which is usually on Wednesdays and Fridays.
Yep.
And as always, thanks for watching Comic Book Geezers. And come on back with more stuff. If you like comics as much as we do, that's what this show's about.
Yep.
I love comics, So thanks for being here, guys, and we'll see you next time on Comic Book Geezers.
That's right. See you next time. Also, if you do want to help support the channel, please, down below is a link to our merch page. You can get yourself a Comic Book Geezers shirt or a coffee mug, so that would also help. So thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time on Comic Book Geezers. For Wild Bill, I'm Pete Pardo. Have a good one, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
That's right. Bye-bye.